Let's get real for a second. Nuclear war isn't just something you see in movies or comic books. It's a terrifying reality that could strike without warning. And the consequences? Well, they're not exactly pleasant. Imagine a world where the sky turns green, the air is thick with radiation, and every breath you take could be your last. That's the nuclear apocalypse, and it's more than just a sci-fi nightmare. It's a real threat that we need to understand if we want any chance of surviving it. Now, you might be thinking, wait, isn't this something that happened long ago? No, not really. While the Cold War era saw some pretty intense nuclear brinkmanship, the world is still teetering on the edge of a potential nuclear conflict today. From geopolitical tensions to rogue states and even cyber warfare, there are plenty of reasons why a nuclear apocalypse could happen again, anytime, anywhere. And that's where the idea of safe zones comes in. Finding a safe zone isn't just about hiding from the blast wave or the initial radiation. It's about surviving the aftermath. You see, when a nuclear bomb explodes, it doesn't just destroy everything in its immediate vicinity. It sends out a massive amount of radioactive particles into the atmosphere. These particles can travel thousands of miles on the wind, turning the air itself into a deadly cocktail that could kill you within hours or even days. So, if you're not in the right place at the right time, you might as well be writing your own obituary. But here's the catch. Safe zones aren't just any old shelter. They need to be underground, shielded from radiation, and stocked with enough supplies to last for weeks or even months. And let's not forget about the psychological toll of surviving such an event. Being trapped in a bunker with no idea what's happening outside can be just as dangerous as the apocalypse itself. So, understanding where these safe zones could be is crucial if you want to have any hope of making it through. So why does this matter? Because knowledge is power, and in a nuclear apocalypse, that power could mean the difference between life and death. By learning about the potential dangers and the importance of finding safe zones, we're not just preparing for the worst, we're taking control of our fate. And who knows? Maybe one day this information will save more than just a few lives. It could change the course of history. Imagine a world where the sky turns into a fiery explosion, and everything above ground is obliterated. Now picture yourself in a place that's not just safe but actually designed to protect you from this chaos. Underground shelters. These are more than just holes in the earth. They're like the ultimate superhero costume for survival, made of concrete, steel, and sheer determination. Think of them as the Earth's own armor, built to shield you from the deadly radiation and the violent blast waves that follow a nuclear explosion. Underground shelters come in all shapes and sizes. Some are simple tunnels dug into hillsides, while others are massive bunkers with reinforced walls and sealed doors. These structures are engineered to block out not just the immediate destruction but also the long-term dangers of radiation. The deeper you go underground, the more protection you get from the harmful rays that can linger in the air for days or even weeks after a blast. It's like being inside a giant, invisible bubble that keeps you safe while the world above is turning into a radioactive wasteland. But it's not just about hiding. These shelters are also designed to keep you alive. They often have systems in place to filter out contaminated air, provide clean water, and even generate power through generators or solar panels. Some military facilities go one step further by having food storage, medical supplies, and communication equipment so that survivors can stay informed and healthy for weeks or months. It's like a survivalist's dream come true, except instead of a backpack full of supplies, you're surrounded by an entire underground fortress. Of course, not all underground shelters are built for the same purpose. Some are designed for short-term use, like emergency bunkers that can protect people during a nuclear attack but aren't meant to be lived in long-term. Others, like military bases or government facilities, are built with long-term survival in mind. These places have everything from air filtration systems to radiation detection tools, making them more than just shelters, they're full-fledged survival hubs. It's like having your own personal bunker that's been designed by the best engineers and scientists on Earth. So next time you think about surviving a nuclear apocalypse, remember, it's not about running away from the blast. It's about finding a place where the ground itself becomes your shield. Underground shelters are the ultimate defense because they combine science, engineering, and a bit of luck to keep you safe when everything else is gone. Whether you're hiding in a tunnel or taking refuge in a military bunker, one thing is clear: being underground might just be the best way to survive the worst. Alright, let's talk about islands, those scattered specks of land in the middle of vast oceans. Now, imagine if a nuclear bomb went off somewhere far away, and you were on one of these remote islands. Would that really protect you? Well, it might just be nature's way of giving you a free shield without you even asking for it. You see, islands are like Earth's natural fortresses, surrounded by water that acts as a buffer against the worst effects of nuclear fallout. So why do these islands have such an edge in this scenario? It all comes down to distance and geography. If a nuclear explosion happens on the mainland, the radioactive particles it releases, like cesium-137 or strontium-90, are carried by wind and weather patterns. But if you're on an island that's far enough away from the blast zone, those harmful particles might never reach you. Think of it like being in a bubble, with the ocean acting as your personal shield. But wait, what about the ocean itself? Isn't it just water? Well, yes, but water is actually pretty good at absorbing radiation. The deeper the ocean, the more radioactive material gets diluted and sinks to the bottom. So even if some fallout does make its way out to sea, it's not going to be as concentrated or dangerous as it would be on land. Plus, the wind patterns that carry fallout usually don't blow directly toward remote islands unless there's a massive storm or something, so you're pretty much safe from the worst of it. Now, let's talk about specific examples. Take Iceland, for instance. It's located in the North Atlantic, far from major nuclear powers and surrounded by deep ocean waters. If a nuclear event happened somewhere like Russia or China, the fallout would have to travel thousands of miles across the globe just to reach Iceland. And even then, it would be significantly weakened by the time it got there. The same goes for places like the Aleutian Islands in Alaska. Those rugged, remote chains are far from any major nuclear facilities and surrounded by the Pacific Ocean, which acts as a natural barrier. But here's the catch. Not all islands are created equal. Some might be closer to potential nuclear hotspots or have weather patterns that could bring fallout their way. However, for most of these remote islands, the combination of distance, ocean currents, and atmospheric conditions makes them surprisingly safe in the event of a nuclear disaster. It's like nature gave us a built-in survival guide without us even realizing it. Imagine digging deep into the earth, far below the surface where sunlight can't reach and radiation can't touch you. That's exactly what subterranean cities are all about. Hidden safe havens built beneath the ground to protect humans from the chaos of a nuclear apocalypse. These underground communities aren't just for sci-fi movies. They're real places that have been designed with survival in mind, offering shelter, food, and even fresh air in a world gone mad. These subterranean cities are like giant bunkers, but way more advanced. They often feature artificial lighting to mimic the sun, controlled climate systems to keep things comfortable, and even hydroponic farms that grow vegetables without needing soil or sunlight. Think of it as living inside a massive, self-sustaining spaceship, except instead of going into space, you're just going deeper underground. One of the biggest advantages of subterranean cities is their natural protection from radiation. The Earth's crust acts like a shield, blocking out harmful particles and reducing exposure to dangerous levels. Plus, being underground means you're safe from nuclear fallout, EMP blasts, and even some of the more extreme weather events that might happen after an apocalypse. It's like having a built-in bunker with all the comforts of home. But building these cities isn't just about digging holes in the ground, it's about engineering. Engineers have to deal with things like air pressure, water management, and structural integrity to make sure these underground communities are safe for long-term living. Some of them even include tunnels connecting different parts of the city, allowing people to move around without ever stepping outside. In a post-apocalyptic world, subterranean cities could become the last refuge for humanity. They offer not just survival, but also a chance to rebuild society in a more controlled and sustainable way. Imagine waking up every morning in a place where you don't have to worry about radiation or nuclear fallout. Just the sound of your own thoughts and the hum of life underground. Imagine you're standing at the edge of a mountain range, looking out over a world that's just gone nuclear. Mountains are like nature's own shield, acting as a giant barrier against radiation and fallout. They can block the wind, which means radioactive particles don't spread as quickly or as far. If you find yourself in a high-altitude area with thick rock formations, you're essentially hiding behind a natural fortress that could save your life. Plus, if there's a nearby mountain lake, it might be one of the few places where clean water is still available after the dust settles. Now picture yourself on the other side of the world, right in the middle of an ocean. Oceans are like Earth's giant detoxifiers, absorbing radiation and diluting its effects over time. If you're lucky enough to find a remote island or a coastal area with strong currents, you might have a better chance of surviving because the water can carry away radioactive particles before they settle on land. But don't get too comfortable. Even oceans aren't immune to nuclear fallout. The radiation could still contaminate marine life and make fishing dangerous for years. Still, compared to being in the middle of a desert or a city, an oceanic location might be your best bet. What about dense forests? These green giants can act as natural filters, trapping some radioactive particles before they spread further. Trees and plants absorb radiation through their leaves and roots, which means the air quality might stay better for longer in forested areas. However, there's a catch: forests can also become contaminated over time, especially if the fallout settles on the ground. If you're lucky enough to find a remote, untouched forest with plenty of fresh water sources, it could be your new home. But don't forget that dense forests are also great hiding places for wildlife and potential dangers like poisonous plants or wild animals. So what's the takeaway? Geography plays a huge role in survival during a nuclear apocalypse. Mountains offer protection, oceans provide dilution, and forests can act as natural filters. But no place is completely safe. Every location has its own set of risks and rewards. The key is to find a spot that minimizes exposure to radiation while maximizing access to clean water, food, and shelter. Whether you're scaling a mountain or wading through the ocean, your survival depends on how well you understand the power of the land beneath your feet.